I'm Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and I'm running for President of the United States.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr. was born with one of the most recognizable names in American politics. The Golden Kennedy name appeared to give him a boost right off the bat.
When he initially sort of came onto the scene, he was getting polls of about 20%, so 1 in 5 Democratic voters, which is substantial. And there was actually evidence in the polling that the main reason some people were supporting him was because he had the Kennedy name.
That number has gone down to 14%, according to a July Quinnipiac poll. But that is still considerable support for someone who has never held office and competing against a sitting president. And also for a Democrat who openly espouses anti-vaccine conspiracies. Democrats were the group that most embraced vaccines. But Kennedy has repeatedly made comments that are anti-vaccine and at times even anti-Asian and anti-Semitic.
COVID-19 is targeted to attack Caucasians and black people. The people who are most immune are Ashkenazi Jews and Chinese.
Sometimes he miscites things. Sometimes he corrects himself. Sometimes he will make an argument. He argued in that Indianapolis speech that there was more all-cause mortality in the 6-month study of the Pfizer vaccine trial for people who did take the vaccine than for people who did not take the vaccine. And he used that as an argument to say that the vaccine may have been killing more people than it was saving in that trial. Now, that's a misreading of the study. I pointed that out to him in our conversations. He went on Joe Rogan's podcast several weeks later. He told the same story, again, repeating this idea. And then he added at the end of that exchange a sort of one-line mention about how, well, people say this is not enough. The study wasn't large enough to make these conclusions, but that's all the data that we have.
Kennedy is not the only current presidential candidate openly misinforming the public.
That was a rigged election.
We wanted to give you a chance to
We have
acknowledge the
elections
results.
that were horrible.
Misinformation has been a part of politics for a long time, but its presence in American politics went to another level after one particular candidate ran for president.
The situation has really changed since Donald Trump came onto the scene. Whereas before Donald Trump, politicians felt compelled to make statements that were at least rooted in some factual basis. They might exaggerate, they might take things out of context, but generally there was a factual basis for what they were saying. Post-Trump, what you see not only in the United States, but across the world, politicians much more comfortable simply saying things that are not true, repeating them over and over. If it somehow serves their political interests, it's utterly shameless. He paved the way that others are following.
And those false claims spread around the globe at an alarming rate via social media.
It's the internationalization of misinformation, the rapid spread of misinformation. Someone like RFK Jr. now has a platform that wasn't available to someone like that 20, 25 years ago. What happens is that people don't know what to believe anymore. It left people who aren't necessarily experts themselves unclear who to believe, and sometimes they want to put their faith in a demagogue.
There's enormous skepticism right now in the country about previously respected institutions, whether the media, the government, regulatory agencies, corporate America. And I think it's a bipartisan concern about all these institutions basically being out for themselves.
The breakdown of democracy is when people no longer feel they can trust institutions and people who they used to trust before. That is definitely happening right now.